I'm going to do a quick talk just about why I use the type of yarns I do and do not use the type of yarns that I do not use. So I started to get back into crocheting a couple of years ago. It's actually probably been about 3 now. And at first I reached out to the community and I asked whether anyone had some yarn because I actually didn't want to put any money into it. The reason why is because my hands hurt. I've got a lot of problems at times. And so I was like, I don't think I can do this. So I got this yarn donated. The fact that these 3 balls of yarn are still sitting here tells you how I feel about this yarn. This is a Bernard mixed baby yarn, and it is just horrible to work with. It feels cheap. I don't know, not even that long of completing a project and washing this a couple of times, it will already not look good. That's my opinion. And then this yarn, that's this yarn that I was talking about. This yarn is actually a different type of yarn. I can't think of the type that it's called, but it's sold at Walmart. And it's kind of this sort of soft yarn. I don't know if we have any of it, Sarah, but I don't think we have the original container. It's very soft, kind of velvety. And it looks nice, right? Like, it's so gorgeous. But if you get up close to this, and hopefully you'll be able to see it, you can kind of see this frizzing that's happening at the edge. So even if you can make a piece for cheaper and you can make it faster, even maybe because this yarn isn't actually my favorite to work with, but you could make a piece like this in not very much time. It's really not the best idea to work with it because your client is going to be unhappy.
Do you have an idea of how fast it wears down?
Yeah,
this is the excess we have before, and it actually has stayed, but you can see at the edges.
Yeah, the edges. There's like this, I don't know, frizzy.
Yeah,
it's like a bad hair day.
It has more of like the sheen on it.
And everyone knows how this is. Eventually, it's pilling when you wash and dry it. You will be washing and drying it by hand, because if you put it in the washer and dryer, it's going to cause that situation to be worse. And then there's this. Somebody gave me this yarn. I don't know why they gave me this project, which literally smelled like cigarettes.
Now it does.
It doesn't now. It's beautiful as a color scheme. Those are some of my favorite colors in there mixed together. That type of blue, I don't know if that's a turquoise or teal. Teal. I was going to say teal. Oh. And just some of those pinks, violets. I really like that. But it's a terrible yarn. You are basically guessing. When you do stitch work on this type of yarn, you're guessing as to where the next stitch is. You cannot see it. And it's not because your eyesight's bad. It's because the yarn is that crappy. It gets stuck together. Anyway, so I have opted to get really super good quality yarn. Now, I'm not always going to be able to work with cotton, but this is an organic cotton. It's turned upside down. That's why you're not able to see I don't think it matters, but this is a very nice yarn. It feels nice. If you take it and against its counterpart, I hardly want to call it that, in Walmart, which is Peaches and Cream style.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the name of it?
Peaches and Cream, that's a brand.
Yeah, it's rugged, rough. The only way they ever got it to be able to be workable is to put all sorts of chemicals on it so that you can actually crochet with it. It's still hard.
When it's in a cone compared to the little tiny 50 grams.
Yes. Yes, it's almost like they use more chemicals just to make you be able to deal with these smaller ones. Or maybe they use less chemicals in the big cones of it. They come on these gigantic cones. They're cheap. An example, I think a cone of that I bought was about $10 or something like that.
Yeah.
A cone of mine, an organic, anywhere from about $135 to $200 something. Now, at first glance, it makes it look like Walmart yarn super cool, but not after your hands are killing, your tendons are ripped apart, and also our environment is kind of hurting from all the chemicals that are used to make that yarn even as workable as it is. It doesn't feel good on your skin, and it tends to look bad after getting washed once. It's the same. It just doesn't have that same quality to it. I mean, even this yarn here, it's washable and wash and wear. I would wash it on Knits Delicate. I would dry it on Knits Delicate. And you could even dry it. You can hang dry it. If you want to preserve your clothing, sometimes like, handmade stuff, it's best to do that with. But you put this other type of yarn in the dryer and washer and dryer, it's going to look like crap.
It will.
And I actually have evidence of that. So I have pieces that I did like back in the 80s with yarn that was from those types of stores. Still looks good, right? But the yarn, you can tell it's gone through the wash over and over and over again. So higher quality, longer lasting, yeah, it's going to cost more. I mean, obviously, if I can do something for $10 for a whole cone versus a whole cone and it's over $100, it's going to make a difference to the customer in pricing. Having said that, a lot of those cones that I get from, it's Ecobutterfly. I'm going to sponsor her today. It's a great, great company. There's like, how many yards were in that? Like 2,000 or something?
Yeah, I mean,
and we'll just get an example. We don't have to.
2,000 for the worsted weight.
Yeah, so there's like 2,000 yards. I don't think there's 2,000 yards in the one at Walmart. No. It's a heavier yarn.
I know that I know for sure that the DK cones that we got had over 1,100 or so.
Yeah, so I mean, like, it's a good couple of big pieces or many, many, many small works of art. Anyway, it's way longer than I wanted to talk, but I kind of wanted to give an idea of why I don't like cheap yarns. This yarn will all be being given to Goodwill or somebody else who's just practicing in the neighborhood, because
someone who likes the yarn, because it's just
honestly, a lot of people would like this yarn for a baby project because it's still brand new yarn. I just don't like it. And on that note, I'm going to bid you farewell.